Robert, I'm the Public Affairs Commander for the Ohio State Highway Patrol. This morning about 7:20 a.m., the patrol was notified by survivor flight that they had lost contact with one of their helicopters. The patrol's response began at that point, along with our law enforcement partners from Meigs and Jackson County. We knew the last known coordinates of the helicopter, and we were also able to ping a cell phone of one of the crew members. Using that information, we directed law enforcement and first responders on the ground, and shortly after 10, the wreckage of the helicopter was found. Unfortunately, all 3 people aboard the helicopter, the flight crew, were pronounced deceased at the scene.
Do you know where the helicopter took off and where it was heading to, and do you know whether it was an issue?
Well, right now it's too early to say whether or not weather came into play. That'll be determined through the investigation. We do know that it did take off from Mount Carmel Hospital this morning and was a route to Holzer Hospital in Meigs County.
And do you know if it was going to pick up a patient, and do you know if the patient was on board at the time of the crash?
It was on its way to pick up a patient. It had not arrived at the hospital yet. So it was still en route from Columbus to Holzer Hospital to pick up that patient.
Do you know if there was a Mayday call from the pilot suggesting anything wrong before the crash?
We don't have that information yet. All we know is that the company lost contact with the helicopter.
Can you describe for us what the scene looks like, how big the debris field is, and what you were able to collect, if anything, from the crash?
Well, as you all know, the landscape around here is very rugged. There are no roads anywhere near the crash scene. The only thing back in those woods are old logging trails. And what first responders are doing right now is working to clear a path to get equipment in there to begin cleaning up the scene. The helicopter broke apart upon crashing, so there's a lot of debris, but not very many large fragments.
Can you tell based on how the plane crashed if it was nose first, if it was propeller? Can you tell?
We don't. It's just too early. We don't have that information yet.
How difficult is this for you guys to respond to such a horrible scene?
Well, you know, any loss of life is tragic, and this is heartbreaking, especially when we have fellow first responders who are flying a mercy mission to help somebody else out. But I will say that we have great partnerships. The Ohio Department of Natural Resources is helping. You know, they're providing tents to keep first responders warm. All the area law enforcement and first responders, we've all just pulled together into one group, and that way we support each other as well. But these are very difficult, and unfortunately there's 3 families that have a very difficult path ahead of them right now.
Can you talk about just how rugged it is to get in there? I mean, do you have to take 4-wheelers? Do you have to, you're actually physically making a road to get to the crash?
Well, I have not been back there myself, but I have seen pictures, and what I know of the topography, of course, this is the Appalachian Hills, and there are no roads that are close. It's just old logging trails. We have been using ATVs to be able to get in and out. But we are going to have to clear some larger places to get equipment in.
What has the FAA or NTSB said about when they'll be on scene and when they'll be able to get more information?
Right. So the FAA is en route from the Cincinnati office. The last update we had is that they'll be here at approximately 3 p.m. this afternoon.
Do you know what agencies are doing this at the moment? You guys are out here. What sheriff department?
Yes, so the Highway Patrol, the Meigs County Sheriff, the Vinton County Sheriff, and the Jackson County Sheriff have all provided law enforcement resources, along with the Ohio Department of Natural Resources.
Now you said it was leaving Mount Carmel. Was it leaving one of the specific locations in Columbus?
I do not know. I just know it was en route from Mount Carmel to Holzer Hospital in Meigs County.
And that was the Mount Carmel in Columbus, not the one?
Yes, yes, it was coming from you know what, now that you say that, it was Mount Carmel, Grove City. Mount Carmel Grove City to Holzer Hospital in Meigs County. I'm glad you brought that up. Thank you.
Do you know if the victims were all found within the wreckage or were they ejected from?
I do not know. I know that they were all located there at the scene and pronounced deceased.
Can you tell us male, females?
The flight crew consisted of one male and two females. At this point, we're still attempting to make notification to families. We're going to withhold those names until we know that notification's been made and the families have had time to prepare. But once I know that's done, we will get that information out.
And what time again did you say you guys initially got the call?
Approximately 7:20 this morning. And then it was shortly after 10 o'clock that we found the first crash scene.
We're expecting sub-zero wind chills tomorrow. How does that play into getting wreckage out, making sure everybody's safe? Is it a race against time, I guess, for you guys because it's going to get so cold?
Well, it's probably too early to even talk about that. But you know, there's no doubt that that's going to impede progress. You know, we're going to do everything we can to get it cleaned up as fast as we can. You know, we also need to leave certain things intact for the FAA when they get here for their investigation. Definitely, it's going to be a factor. You know, these investigations, we're in the slow down time at this point. You know, we need to be able to put everything back together. You know, we have our crash reconstruction teams out there to map the scene. You know, using surveying equipment and 3D scanners to map the scene to be able to put everything back together. Hopefully, that information we collect in the long run will help determine, you know, the flight path of the angle of impact and be able to help the FAA determine what actually caused the helicopter to come down.
Can you talk about the ping with the cell phone of one of the people? How did that help you determine where it was? Did it lead you right to the place, or did you still have to search to try to find the record?
Well, what it did is of course, we knew the last known coordinates, but the ping was a little bit closer. Law enforcement on the ground specifically searched the area where the ping was coming from, and that's where we found the wreckage. So it was key. It was key being able to use that information in this situation.
Again, I know you said that you guys got the call in at 7:20 and you found the crash scene at 10. How far off from the road? I'm sure you've seen it where you come up and you guys have it blocked off. How far back? Do you know how many miles it may be?
I don't. I can get that information, but I don't know that right now. I mean, I've seen it on a map, just like, you know, I've seen it on a map, but I can tell you that on that map, there's no roads around it. But I'll get that information.
So when you initially found it, that was by foot?
Yes. Yep.
Did anyone happen to, were there any witnesses that would have seen the chopper go down? Did anybody provide any kind of information?
Not that I'm aware of. You know, we haven't received any witness reports, and to the best of our knowledge, no one on the ground was hurt. I mean, it is very remote. It's very cold. Even though this is a well-known recreation area in this state, there were no reports of anybody on the ground being injured. It's kind of what I know right now. Yeah, anytime.
Do you know if we're going to have another one of these, or are you going to just send out an email version?
Yeah, so this media release should be going to all the desks, and I'm going to check on that right now, and then I'll print out copies to give you guys. The next update will be media release, and that'll include the names of the flight crew.
But you're not sure when until you guys make contact with family.
Right. I know that we're in contact with